So when you built it over 30 years ago, how many houses would you say were on this side of Pedregal?
I would say not more than 10.
And now there's hundreds.
Yes, not more than 10. I would have to count them, but I'm sure there were not more than 10. Although of those 10, more or less, those numbers, there were already three homes that I designed, 4 homes that I had designed and built.
Welcome to the Nick Fong Podcast. As the broker and owner of Ronival Real Estate, Nick has spent nearly 20 years in Baja California, sir. And in this podcast, he'll be talking everything Baja, from food and culture to real estate and property management. And now, here's your host, Nick Fong.
All right, welcome back. I'm here at the home of Jacinto Avalos. How are you doing, Jacinto?
Very well, Nick. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for inviting me into your house. And
you're always welcome.
It's been a couple years since we were on camera before.
Casa Fuego.
Yes, and we sold that house, and just about, a month and a half ago, you reached out to me, invited me to your house, you and your lovely wife, Cecilia. We were sitting on these couches.
That's correct.
And we were talking about the next stage in life. What was the revelation a month and a half ago that we spoke about?
Well, basically, we were interested in selling this house and building another one. And our family needs have drastically changed, and the expectations of our patrimony, what we'll leave for our children, also, we have to plan for it.
Now, you and Cecilia have 3 kids.
We have 3 wonderful kids, a daughter and 2 boys.
And they're in different parts of the world.
Yeah, that's correct. Inez is in Mexico City, and she works for World Bank, which is based in Switzerland. Then Diego lives in Madrid and is vice president at Netflix. And then Pablo, the youngest, lives in LA, and he is research director at Cedars-Sinai.
And how many grandkids do you have?
We have 3 and 1 in the pot.
Yes, and they were just in town, and you have them in your house that you built how many years ago?
I would say 30 years, a little over 30 years ago.
So 30 years ago, so when we were talking a month and a half ago about selling your home, and we were doing the normal things, the price, the market, and things like that, tell everyone what happened between that time and now. Well,
you were able to sell the house, basically.
Yes.
So I think that's what you're hinting at. But we've had a number of interesting parties that visited the house. And I think that we're very fortunate to have found somebody that seems to be the perfect match for the house, somebody that appreciates the house, loves the house, and that has seen what we saw when building it.
So when you built it over 30 years ago, how many houses would you say were on this side of Pedregal?
I would say not more than 10.
And now there's hundreds.
Yes, not more than 10. I would have to count them, but I'm sure there were not more than 10. Although of those 10, more or less, those numbers, there were already three homes that I designed, 4 homes that I had designed and built.
Which houses were those?
The first one on this side was called Socaire, which is a house which is up the street for a lawyer and his wife. And then the house with the domes on the beach, which, and then the Mr. and Mrs. Feinstein's house on the other side, and then also the house next door for my brother-in-law. Oh. So this was the 5th house in Pedregal that I was planning and building.
It was making the decision for you and Cecilia a difficult decision to sell?
Yes, not only for us, for the whole family. I think that nobody cried as much and was so emotional about it as my granddaughter.
Oh, is that right?
Yes, she felt almost like she was left homeless. And she cried and cried, and she couldn't put herself together for several minutes.
How old is your granddaughter?
She's going to be 7. She's 6 years old. She's going to be 7.
She only knows this house. This is Cabo for her. This is the grandparents. This is the house.
No, I've been very fortunate because as an architect, I've been able to, my family has been able to live in homes that I designed and built. They got married in the church that I designed and built. And we've had the opportunity of staying different summers for different reasons in different homes that I have designed because our friends, former clients have lent them to us. So if you talk to any of my grandchildren, they feel all of those homes belong to them. And it's their homes. But obviously this is the one they visited the most, so they really feel very much attached to. So yes, it was a very, very difficult decision. It's a home that we designed with a lot of care. We built it with a lot of effort. And if you see it, it's very well maintained. So it's practically new. And as you've seen also in some of my work, although it was done a long time ago, it still feels contemporary. It feels like timeless. And so parting is a hard decision. But on the other hand, it's a house that doesn't work well for our family structure now, with the 4 grandkids, with the spouses.
Yes.
It's a house that's not any longer functional for us.
So you're not leaving Cabo, obviously.
I don't think I can leave Cabo. And from the moment I moved to Cabo, we were driving from Mexico City when we finally decided the whole family was going to live here. And we were stopping at different cities, Guadalajara, Los Mochis, Mazatlan. And when we registered at a hotel, they would ask me, "Where are you from?" And I would tell them from Cabo San Lucas. And my daughter, which was barely 8, she was more or less the age of my granddaughter now.
Yeah.
She would just kind of push tight into me and say, "Dad, why are you saying that? We're not from Cabo." So a little bit kind of like ashamed. And I said, "No, yes, we are. We're going for good."
Yeah.
And yes, we've been here and we've made our life here.
Yeah, and so you're not leaving, and you have such strong roots here, and specifically in the Pedregal. Have you and Cecilia thought, are you going to stay in the Pedregal?
Yes, we have another lot that we've had for a number of years. The whole family bought it. We bought it all together.
Yeah.
Then I bought everybody out because they had some other needs. And so we're going to build a house there with the proceeds from this house. So it's just going from one lot to another lot.
Well, it's probably that lot that you showed me a couple of years ago. Still amazing, better views, right?
I would say different views, but equally nice. Less obstructed, probably. Yes. Everything's built all around. Everybody will have a view. And although it's similar in square footage, it's longer in terms of its exposure to the view.
Yeah.
So it's almost like this one, but instead of facing towards the ocean in its axis, it's crossed.
So it's all laterally. It's laterally. Yeah. It's facing the ocean.
So we should be able to. I've designed already 3 homes on that lot. I'm not totally satisfied with any of the 3. They all are nice, but not exactly what I'm looking for. So now that we've been able to sell the home, thanks to you, we'll be able to. Well, not only will we be able to, we better come up with a design and get it built.
Hey, thanks for being a part of the Nick Fong Podcast. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast to get the latest updates. And if you're watching this on our social channels, please like and share. And if you want to be featured or you want me to talk on a certain topic, food, activities, culture, real estate in the Baja, drop a comment. Did you find Do you find it harder to design a house for you and the family than for a client?
Yes.
And why is that? And sorry, not client, patient.
Patient.
I remembered
You have
from
a good
last
memory.
time.
Yeah, I was going to react. Well, when I'm able to open up so many possibilities and I have to narrow them down, and the family is confident 100% that I'll come up with something satisfactory, their input is diminished tremendously. So I don't have much guidance.
Uh-huh.
So it's like having a free ticket to go anywhere in the world, and where do you start?
Right.
And then there's so many places that you want to go to. Which one will it be?
Yes.
And also, I think this house was very successful and everybody was happy. So it's a challenge.
To up it or meet that same standard.
To meet the standards or even go beyond them. And the other thing, the economy is crazy.
It is.
So it's not easy to, it's going to be hard to come up with something that we did over time, putting a budget as we went along, as opposed to having to get it done because we have to move into another house.
Right.
So that puts a lot of pressure.
Yeah. Well, I imagine over the years you've had clients that are repeat clients. You've maybe designed one home and a second home, or at a minimum remodeling of houses. Is that correct?
That's very much correct. First of all, my former patients have become very, very dear friends.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the most important thing about my profession is being able to do what I like, having somebody that appreciates it, engage my services. But more than that, it's the friendship and relationship that we establish. So yes, people want an addition. Well, it even goes to the extent that some of them will consult me about, do I approve they're doing this,
right.
buying art and putting that art or not? And it's very touching.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, they're able to do whatever they want to.
But they value your opinion.
They value my opinion. They're sensitive to it, and they make me feel good.
Well, that's fantastic. And you've always had a great eye for art and the decoration, to the point where you were just telling me before we started recording, if you wouldn't mind retelling, when you buy something for the house, how do you go about buying it? What's the thought process?
Well, let me expand a little bit to what you're referring to and the conversation we had. One thing, art for me has to do with pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
It has a price. You have to pay a price. But once I pay a price, it's worthless.
Yeah.
Or it's so valuable that it cannot be put back in the market or be going back into commerce.
Mm-hmm.
So the art I have is because I enjoy it, and I have a tremendous pleasure. I get a tremendous pleasure of enjoying it.
Yeah.
Second, not absolutely every anniversary, but we made it a habit for many years that for our anniversary, I would give Cecilia a piece of art.
Yeah.
That would be like a momentum of our anniversary for that year, and then we collected art because that's what we like. And the other thing is that I've tried as much as possible to get pieces which are similar in style, not necessarily in value, but in style, so that when we leave this world, we can leave the art to our children. And they can find 3 sculptures which are modern art,
yes.
3 sculptures which are very classical, or 3 paintings which are abstract, or 3 of everything, so that they'll be able to more or less distribute them, and they will feel that they all have a piece of us, a piece of our home.
I got a dilemma for you, though.
Yeah.
You have 4 grandkids, or 3.5. Yeah. So maybe you have to start buying 7 pieces.
Well, that's a good point. But on the other hand, I think that there's so many pieces that I think everybody will find a piece for themselves.
Fantastic.
As long as I've noticed in the generations that something happens, and I hope that is not our case. But there is a generation gap between grandparents and parents, with it parents and children, children and grandchildren, etc. And I've noticed that when somebody dies and they leave their belongings to the family, there are a lot of things that the next generation doesn't like, doesn't appreciate, or has a totally different taste. So I hope that all my dreams of leaving this art doesn't actually go to, let's sell it, because I know my dad was crazy. I really don't like.
Well, I think Cabo San Lucas, if that ever happens, will have a Jacinto Avalos museum, and we can proudly display all of your art pieces.
Anyhow, I've enjoyed them, and that was the purpose. I hope people enjoy them. They're good pieces.
Yeah.
I mean, they're...
So we're in 2022. It seems like life is getting back to normal after the pandemic. And in terms of business, how has business gone for you? Are you still working with patients, sorry?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah?
As I've told you before, my profession, which I made it my hobby and it's my purpose in life, allows me to hopefully work until I'm unable to work or die. So I do see myself working many, many more years. And I'm very fortunate because people appreciate what I do, look for my product. They want, sounds pompous, but they want an Avalos.
Yes.
And it's only me who could deliver.
Do it. Right.
So, I have a lot of commissions. I'm very fortunate. I'm very happy. I feel very accomplished in that sense.
Are any of them in construction right now?
Yes, we have 3 homes in construction. We have 3 homes already designed, which are about to start. And I have a lot of projects.
Some of them here in Pedregal, or?
Some of them in Pedregal. Yeah, here in Pedregal, we're building 3 homes that we designed. We're working on, we have 1 which is already designed, ready to build. And we're working on 3 more.
Wow.
In Pedregal. But then we have some other things in other areas.
I don't know if you'll have time to build your own house.
I will.
You will. Well, I look forward to seeing that come to life, and as always, appreciate you as...
No, thank you, Nick. There's an expression in Spanish that says that you rest by doing bricks. This is Casa haciendo adobes. Or...
Bricks, okay.
Yeah. So, although you might be a bricklayer, you take some time off and do some bricks as a way of decompressing. Yeah, well. So my home will be a side thing that I'll be doing when I'm done with everybody else's assignments.
Yes.
But every day, there's a discipline. So I'll spend a certain amount of time every day, and my project will come out.
Well, as always, Jacinto, appreciate your friendship and being a patient of mine. And I look forward to staying in touch. And as always, thank you.
No, thank you very much for your services. And obviously, I recommend you highly.
Thank you very much. And everyone, be on the lookout for those 3 houses in construction, 3 more coming, and many more years. And until the next one, bye for now.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Nick Fong Podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast and the YouTube channel at youtube.com/Ronival Real Estate, and follow Nick on Instagram at NickFong_Ronival. Ready to find your Baja dream home? Check out the latest property listings at Ronival.com or findmexicohouses.com. Hasta luego.